he got exposed. Oh my goodness. So many of you guys have asked me to check out this tip between Ryan Clark and RG3. And, you know, I'm like, okay, RG3 is in something, I know it's going to be something goofy. And sure enough, it's something goofy, okay? Because all this has to do with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese yet again. I find it so interesting how everybody is now all interested in women's basketball, don't you? But we'll get into how many of these ignorants in these races view Caitlin Clark. But that being said, I go and check out what RG3 said, and he's just being extremely flamboyant, extremely just, you know, egregious with his statements, talking about, Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. I know what hate looks like, and that's hate. Okay, the only reason she's still in the game is because one of the teammates stopped her from assaulting her and everything.
So this episode is all about Angel Reese and the fact that Angel Reese clearly hates Caitlin Clark. This is a still shot. After the foul that Caitlin Clark put on Angel Reese tried to hit her.
I miss you like a hog miss fly.
And it's like, bro, you doing a little too much. And what makes this picture just even more, I'll say, just weird, okay, just perverted in a sense, is that he has his wife in the background. Now, throughout this whole video, his wife doesn't say anything. But as he's tearing down Angel Reese, his wife is nodding her head, just, and it's just like, it's giving me, you know, slave master, slave vibes, right? Just like, what's your name? Go ahead, let them know. You know, that's what it's giving me. Not that I know the dynamics here, but I think we'll get later on into the video on the dynamics, but that's what it looks, okay? Just the optics of this, of seeing this man talk this trash about, you know, Angel Reese, race baiting, as they would say, because that's exactly what he's doing, as his wife, who just so happens to be white, is in the background, just, you know, applauding his behavior, just like, good boy, good boy. But we go on, and he says what he says, and in response, Ryan Clark completely destroys this man. He breaks this man down to like the molecule, all right? Exposes the foolishness that is RG3. Now, after he exposes this, we already know what happens, is that all the racists, all the Sambo soldiers, all the plantation owners come to the defense of their house Negro. That's what happens, because now they all screaming and crying, and it's very interesting. But I'm trying to see what they were upset about with what Ryan Clark said, because I'm expecting him to say something egregious, right? I'm expecting him to go off the rails like, hey, this coon mofo and his white, that's what I'm expecting. And I watched the clip, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. He's calm, cool, collected as a cucumber, no cursing, nothing derogatory, no ad hominems. He's just breaking it down. He's just letting them know what it is. And just to put a pause right there, it goes to show you when it comes to respectability politics, that doesn't work with racists, okay? That doesn't work with the trailer trash of the Republican Party. That doesn't work with them. You can tell them calmly in a civilized manner with the best English there is, right? All the big words that they probably don't know, and let them know what racism is, what's the issue here, why there, black people have grievances about reparations, and they will still say, what you talking about? I don't believe in that. That DEI, that's CRT. That's what we're dealing with, right? Is that it doesn't matter how you deliver the message if they don't like that message. Damn. Back to what Ryan Clark said. Well, Ryan Clark was like, hey, RG3 may know hate due to his self-hatred.
But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self.
Wake up, nigga.
And I was like, oh, he may be cooking here. He may be cooking. Then he goes on to talk about how he doesn't have any bearing on how Angel Reese may be feeling right now because he married a white woman for his first wife and he married a white woman for his second wife.
And so now if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping.
So he has no comparison. These aren't conversations that are being had at the table with his wife. And I'm just like, oh, he's definitely cooking. he's definitely cooking. It just is what it is. Now, this is where many of the white ignorants were upset. This is many of the racists were upset because they get called out. It's like, yo, listen, you're not really having conversations at the table as far as, I wonder why, what Angel Reese is going through. I wonder why she feels that way. Especially as a black woman in the history of, being black in this country and how that's impacting her. That's not the conversations that they have. The conversations that many of these ignorants, these racists is having is, oh, the freaking blacks are doing it again, and the Jews, and, that's their level of IQ. That's their level of discourse that they have at the dinner table, okay? It just is what it is. Now, I'm not making it racial. I'm just making an observation. They just lack the bandwidth, the intellectual fortitude to have such, deep dives into the country, into the history of this country, much less, comprehend what most people are talking about or what most people understand.
He's out of line, but he's right.
That's why I get when Trump says he loves the uneducated, because that's the majority of his base. Majority of his base are, trailer trash, low IQ, simpletons. And so it's unfortunate, but there's so many of them that you can't ignore that market.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
But then Ryan Clark goes on and hits the nail on the head, man. I think this is really the killing blow of this little, short clip. And he talks about how RG3 has always talked about milk. He's always talked about, white women. He's talked about, the color of the skin of his wife.
When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin.
And he says that he believes that she's more than that. I was like, whoo, that's powerful.
As if the color of her skin is what makes her special. As if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that.
That's powerful right there. Because now, let's go back to what I was talking about with his wife in the background. Now, what do you put in the background, bruh? She's in the background, not talking whatsoever, not opining on anything he's saying. She's just there in the background. He is using her as a trophy. That is what he is using her as nothing more than a decoration on his wall. That's how he views his wife. Damn. And there are plenty of posts of him talking about how he loves milk and cookies and milk and all this goofy stuff, right? But it's never about how I love my wife, how she's the best woman ever, she's a great mother, blah, blah, blah. It's always this goofy stuff of, even when it comes to the jokes, there's like one little joke where they have where she takes a melanin pill instead of a melatonin pill and she wakes up as RG3. And it's always about race with him. It's always about color with him. And Ryan Clark exposes this because actually the real racist is actually RG3. Damn. The real race bait in all of this is actually RG3. So when people try to say Ryan Clark is a racist, I find that absolutely hysterical because Ryan Clark is exposing, if you want the one time on planet Earth, if you want to say something about anti-white racism, this would be it. the one time I'll let you have this one. The one time that they're actually dealing with anti-white racism, with a fetishizing of her white skin, is with RG3. Because that's how he's viewing this woman. It's not about who she is or the content of her character. It's about the color of her skin and how he has fetishized this woman simply due to her being white.
I'm not a woman. White? Oh, the deception.
What type of woman do you have a podcast with where you don't allow her to talk? She's not even in focus with you, right? Aside to you. She all the way in the back. Just being who she is, That's all she is. She's nothing more than a decoration to you. That's all she is to RG3. And I would think that white people, because the irony of this is that all the tap dancing that RG3 does is that the majority of his base does not like him with that woman. because majority of his base sees him as less than. They see her, they'll call her like a mud shark in some of the derogatory terms that they give for white women such as her, right? But the irony is that we have to look at RG3. What woman is going to get with RG3? Nobody, right? He's unattractive. He's goofy. He has no charisma. And, you know, he's just not, you know, the cream of the crop, we'll say. It just is what it is. But there are women out there who, because he has money or because they view him as having money, they will deal with that. They will even have a baby by him, okay? They'll have a baby by a goofball, a corny, you know, even though she knows that he's fetishizing her, but she'll use that to her benefit. That's what you have to understand. Some of these women, whether they're white women, Asian women, even black women, because many black women get fetishized by white men. We can take an example, hell, Candace Owens. Fetishized by a white man. I think it's probably a little the opposite there where she, you know, got him. But regardless of the point that there are people out there that will do this because they see this as going up the ladder or at least, a financial safe haven. That's how they view it, that they'll prostitute their bodies to secure the bag. And, you know, and you can't tell me she's not aware of how he treats her. She's not aware of the posts that he puts out there. But you have to understand, there was a video not too long ago where there was a white woman who was saying, like, we get that some of y'all fetishize us. We get that y'all view us as something special. And we take advantage of that. I wish I could find it. If I can't, you can try and look it up. But it was a girl, and she was saying how this is the relationship with some of the black guys that she gets with. That, hey, you give me money, you know, I give you my whiteness, you know, that you get the benefit of my white skin. That's what it is. And that's unfortunately what seems to be the case with RG3, which many of the people who are criticizing Ryan Clark are completely eluding because it's an uncomfortable truth of what is clearly the case or what seems to be the case. But in addition to that, not only does he show respect for the wife, saying she's more than that, but he goes on to say that despite his tap dancing, right? Despite him trying to give life and breathe life and promoting these racist microaggressions, that at the end of the day, he's still a black man, that he is no less of a black man than me.
No matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less black than me.
Damn. And I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. How do you get upset at that? He broke him down, broke his fetish that he has, right? Broke down the dynamics, which is backed and supported by a plethora of his tweets, right? RG3's tweets of milk this and cookies and milk and all this goofy stuff. Now, of course, they'll probably write that off. Oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. You know how they do. But I find that interesting that in all of this, you want to know who people are upset at? Ryan Clark. They're upset at Ryan Clark exposing the foolishness. That's what they're upset at. Can you imagine that? They're trying to call Ryan Clark the racist. What? He didn't say nothing racist about that. He exposed this man for who he is. That's what he did. Now, I just find it interesting that upon Caitlin Clark assaulting Angel Reese, she walks away and is just confused. Oh, what? Is someone behind me? I don't know. I'm just, I find that interesting because it seems to be emblematic of a certain lineage of evil and how they do things in this country, where they antagonize, and then when they finally, get the behavior or the action that they were trying to, elicit, then all of a sudden it's like, what? I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. And sure enough, as God is my witness, that's exactly what RG3 does. RG3 comes out with a video claiming to be the victim. That, oh, he attacked his wife and he attacked his kids. And really, you gonna attack my kids, man? You attack my...
But what you don't do is turn around and personally attack me and my family just because you don't agree with a sports opinion that is purely based off the sport.
What?
He doesn't refute anything that Ryan Clark says. Nothing. He doesn't even address it. He just tries to overlook all that, right? He tries to completely mask all that with the victimhood complex, which is what we're seeing currently right now with among many of these racists and these white ignorants. It's like, oh, we got to do, I'm being a victim. You know what? I can't even get a job and this and that and DEI and all. They're being victims, bro. And that's exactly what RG3 is doing. And I find it interesting. I find it absolutely fascinating. Not only in this video, but in addition to the fact that his wife isn't even in this video. And I find it interesting. Why isn't your wife in this video? All of a sudden, now she's no longer there while you're claiming to be victim. And it just goes to show you that the lineage of evil is exactly that. The lineage of evil. So when I talk about the lineage of evil, you have to think about RG3. You have to think about people like him and those who promote his foolishness, because nothing that they love more than themselves in some cases is a Sambo. It's someone that they can utilize for their empowerment. They love no one more, and they will fight till the death to defend their property. You have to understand, because that's how they're arguing. If you look at many of the comments and look at many of the rebuttals, it's a defense almost of their property. Hey, he's one of the good ones. Don't talk about him. It's kind of how, Candyman would defend Steven. He would defend him because he knows Steven he's one of the good ones. He's doing the work. He's keeping everyone in line. He's saving me money by letting me know about, hey, they're not here to do any fights or anything like that. They're here for the girl. So you have to understand that's who they prop up into these positions. That's why they're giving these positions, is because they are nothing more than, a white ally, we'll say. But it's not even a white ally. They're a racist ally. They're an ally to racist whites in the country, which gives them more value than anyone else in their view. And once you understand that dynamic, it becomes easy to see the fake outrage where people are saying, oh, I can't believe Ryan Clark said this and everything. It's like, well, it's because you're a racist. As simple as that. You're so much of a racist that you're trying to pawn the person who's clearly an anti-racist as the racist. That's how twisted your worldview is, because you come from a lineage of evil. So right is wrong to you and wrong is right. It makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. But I find it hilarious, people trying to vilify Ryan Clark when he handled it with nothing but respect. He handled it with respect. He handled this more respect for Robert Griffin III's wife than Robert Griffin has. Think about that. He has more respect for his wife than the husband does. That's powerful. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, Lucas, Ryan Clark is a racist, okay? He's a racist. That's what he is. And you need to stop defending racists. Or if you believe, I don't even think you know what that word means. I find it interesting that much of the people who want to claim that they're patriots have such a little understanding of the country that they reside in. They don't know anything other than, caveman Neanderthal logic. Was a black man bad, white people good? That's their whole worldview. That's the way that they view this world, through that racialized lens. And it's sad to see so many ignorant, just, doltish people walking about with an opinion. Because they'll be the first one to give their opinion. Don't know up from down, but they want to opine on what's going on in the world today. Nevertheless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you didn't, though, if you happen to have a disagreement, you know where to find me. Thursday through Saturday, there'll be a number on screen. You call in and we duke it out. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think, and subscribe. And all that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing. He has more respect for his wife than the husband does.